Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where it is currently time to implement purchasing vehicles. But before we can really implement purchasing vehicles, first we have to make it so that we actually have a way to store data about the buildings that we have, so that we can assign a vehicle to a building. So let's go ahead and in our declaration here, or actually, I'm just going to rename the building enum right now. And I'm going to name that building type. And then let's go into here and create ourselves a new C# script. I'm going to make this in the core. The same field name is serialized multiple times in the class or its parent class. Base Business Manager. What? Hang on. Business is a time-aware object. Yes. Yes. Let's go ahead and rename this to X Manager. Okay. Thank you, compiler. Actually, that wasn't the compiler. That was Unity that warned me about that one. That could have caused an issue. Okay. It still thinks that there's a problem there. I'm not sure I agree, considering I literally just changed it. So we do want to have a reference to our hex manager there. And then otherwise, I think that's good to go. So let's go ahead and create ourselves a new C# script called building. Nope, building does not have a C in it. There we go. And it did not open it. Excellent. Okay. So we are going to make this be a time-aware object. And I just want... well, first things first, we don't need that. This is mostly going to be a data store class, but we do want there to be an override for the time-aware object. And I just want to double-check, because it's been so long since I did anything with time-aware object, I want to make sure that it does indeed register itself for calling the ticks. Perfect. Perfect. Oh, and this is even a private time manager. Okay. Sounds good. So let's go into our hex store here. And this is going to break a lot of things. We're going to change this from storing the building type to storing the actual building script. And the first thing we're going to do in the building script is we're going to do a public building type. Okay. Next, when we implement this, I believe that is in the hex manager that we actually populate these lists. Let's just double check that. It might be in World Hex, but I think it's in Hex Manager, which is here. And let's just check here. No, I guess it is in World Hex. Okay. And then we will come up here, and we're going to need to make... let's see. I know it's in here somewhere. Here we go. So, we're going to need to instantiate a new one of these. I just want to check. Time-aware object is a mono behavior. Okay. That's interesting. Does it need to be? It kind of does. How do I want to handle that then? So, I mean, obviously, this would then need to be .type, and we'd need to just go through and change all of these. So buildings.type, and this is going to be a lot of things that we need to change. Instead of adding building type.none, yeah, we would need to just... I mean, the first thing is, obviously, that we would want our public building type to default to building type none. I think that's pretty obvious. And then we're going to need public override void on day. And we're just going to not run the base because the base does nothing. So public override void on hour. Public override void on month. And public override void on year tick. Okay. So we'll just have these here for overrides. And we do need to figure out how we want to solve this particular problem. I mean, we could simply say, this isn't really going to work the way I'd like it to. Because creating a mono behavior this way doesn't quite work the way I want to, and it is ultimately rooted out of a mono behavior, so I think this will cause problems. We'll see. But for right now, it'll compile. So that's progress. Okay, and then this here we would need to do .type. And we're going to need to do the same thing on a whole bunch of different places. .type. And then this can't evaluate between those, but that's fine. It can evaluate between .type. So there we go. Okay. This again should be .type. This again should be .type. And basically all of these need to be .type. There are so many of these. I'm tired of typing .type. I'm just going to copy that. And then we're just going to be pasting these in here. Okay. Here are some more of them. 38 to go. As I said, this would create some errors, but this will allow us to do a lot of interesting things with the buildings. Data storage and things like that. Okay. This is where a lot of the errors are, right here. Okay. So I'm still reasonably certain that this is definitely going to cause errors because we're trying to instantiate a mono behavior. Or rather, we're trying to create a mono behavior with new rather than instantiating it. Which isn't exactly a supported thing. So I suspect this is indeed going to create errors, but otherwise this should be a drop-in solution. And I'm not exactly sure how I want to go about preventing the call of a new mono behavior. Because I do absolutely want it to be a time-aware object, and I do want time-aware object to be a mono behavior. But now we have no compiler errors, which is nice. So in our building, we should now be able to do something along the lines of public. Let's see here. Do we want to store this here? Do we want to just have a reference to it, grabbing it from the balance variables? That's probably going to be the best way to do it. Let's do a public override void start. Not change access modifiers. Oh, it's protected? Okay. Protected override void start. And then we'll just do base.start. Okay. And then we'll do stuff here. But we are going to need a public list of vehicle. And I think we're going to go ahead and leave it like that. Just like that. And we are going to create ourselves a new script in here. So create C# script vehicle. Yep, this is all good. Vehicle will also be a time-aware object. And this is, for right now, just going to contain public vehicle type. Okay, that's it for now. Okay. So with that being the case, we can then go into our building script here, and this will now compile correctly, and we can just leave that as is for now. Let's let Unity compile that and see if Unity has any problems with it. Visual Studio didn't. Neither does Unity. Okay, sounds good. So, let's run this and see how badly it broke it with the new call on a mono behavior. That would be where this would have a pitfall. Everything else should be a drop-in replacement. And we'll need to try to figure out how we want to do that, because I don't want to spawn a game object for every one of those. That would be really wasteful. We could make a new subclass, I guess, of time-aware object that was not a mono behavior. Yeah, this is throwing a lot of errors. I can already tell by how long this is taking. Oh yeah, this is a problem. Okay, so that was in the world hex, correct? I believe so. Yes, right here. This is the line that I believe Unity is currently struggling with. Unity will eventually get there, and I do kind of want to see how long it'll end up taking. In the meantime, let's think about how we want to go about doing this without a new call, because, like I said, I was pretty sure this would cause problems, because it's a mono behavior. So the time-aware object here is definitely a mono behavior. Let's go into the time manager. And we've got our list of time-aware objects here. I mean, we could certainly make a new time-aware object base class. Unity, are you okay yet? No, you're not okay. So our time-aware object currently consists only of this. It would be super, super easy to make a non-mono behavior version, and then we can just, in our update here, when we call the on hour tick, on day tick, on month tick, like here, we can just have a second list that we iterate through, and do the same thing again for a non-mono behavior version. I think that would probably be the best way to go about doing this, because yeah, Unity is struggling a wee bit. So I mean, we could even do it here without having a separate script for it, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. Public class time-aware object non-mono behavior, and it's not going to inherit from anything. Now, it's not going to have the start automatically called. That's something we're going to have to be aware of. So I think what we should do is we should create a constructor. Public time-aware object non-MB. So we create a constructor like that. And then when we call the constructor, we can have a public void start here, and then we can just call start in the constructor, like that. And actually it would be protected virtual void, like this. Okay, and then we'd have the private time manager manager. And then rather than TWOs, it would be something like time-aware non-mono behavior. And we'll need to put that into our time manager, which I'm going to go ahead and do. So public list, nope, time-aware non-MB is the variable name. There we go. This will be time-aware object non-MB equals new list, time-aware object non-MB. Okay. There we go. And then we can have our building and our vehicle, actually, go from time-aware object non-MB. Unity is still struggling? Yes, indeed it is. Excellent. We're also going to need to change over vehicle, which appears to maybe not be open. No, it's right here. Perfect. Time-aware object non-MB. There. Now we don't have a mono behavior for any of that. And I think Unity's not going to freak out about that the way it is about this. So I'm pretty sure at this point, if we go back into the world hex, this, once Unity stops freaking out about this current run, I think this will no longer cause problems. And then when we do the constructor, it does automatically call start, so it acts just like a mono behavior that way. One thing to note is that update is not called in this, so that's something we should know. However, we don't really need it to. That's what the time manager is for, and the time manager will end up calling on day tick, on hour tick, on month tick, and on year tick. So I don't think we need to worry, realistically. Now the other thing we need to do is we need to implement this happening for the other list. So for int I equals 0, I is less than time-aware non-mb.count, I++, time-aware non-mb I dot on hour tick. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this and paste it here and change this to on day tick and paste it here on month tick and paste it here on year tick. Okay, there we go. So now it should work exactly the same, whether it's a mono behavior or a non-mono behavior, and based on how we want to do this, like for example, the business obviously should be a mono behavior, but it also needs to be a time-aware object. Unity, are you okay? Unity is not okay. Okay. So, like I said before, I do want to let it run to completion and just check to see what exactly it ends up doing and then run it with this. However, I have no idea how long that's going to take, and here's the thing. This video goes up in an hour and a half, and my upload is really slow. So I need to put a cut in here and get this video uploading, or else I'm going to once again, well, not really once again because I haven't yet, but I'm going to, actually I was late on one video once, like by 20 minutes. But if I don't get this uploading now, then this video will be late. So I should probably go ahead and do that. And I'll just off camera wait and see how long it takes Unity to do this. It's gonna be a while, I can tell you that. So anyway, next episode, we will be checking to make sure that the non-mono behavior version works fine, and if it does, then we will be proceeding. See you all then.